Halloween
forever.
I was going to do a whole thing with like the genie, but I'm going to give up on that bit. Welcome, boys and ghouls, to another fucking video of Halloween forever. I'm Ryan.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
I was going to do a whole like, you ain't never had a friend like me situation, but I was like, that's going to be a long amount of singing immediately as soon as the episode starts, and it will be turned off by 98% of human beings. Guys, we are going to talk about a movie tonight. Speaking of genies and jinns and all manner of that sort of business, we're going to talk about an absolute holy piece of shit movie called Wishmaster 3 from 2001, I think.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it's a steamer. Ooh, it's a steamy one. Yeah, but we did a little Tubi Roulette, and we'll talk about that here in a quick second. But we've got a few other things to do. First of all, once again, thank you for joining us. As we just discussed before we jumped on here, we actually have an extra week. Extra Monday this month. So normally we would be talking about what our showdown episode is going to be for next week. And we will. We're going to do a little bit of that. But we actually, showdown episode is not going to be for 2 weeks from the release of this episode. But we've got some other exciting things. We had an exciting week at the Cryptor-Kel for the Halloween is Forever crew. We got some cool stuff planned out, which, I guess we'll kind of get into here. First of all, we're going to do a damn live show. We're going to do a live
really?
recording of the podcast. Yeah.
It sounds so cool.
I know. You're just learning about this now? That's discerning. Or no, that's disconcerting. Discerning was a totally different word. That means a different thing. Yes, it is going to be on, correct me if I'm wrong, that's going to be June the 25th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so next month, the 25th, it's a Saturday at Hop Farm Brewing Company in beautiful Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in Lawrenceville. If you're not familiar, we are going to do a Meg, tell us about the collaboration beer you did and kind of where the brainchild for this thing started.
Oh, fuck yeah. So this whole collaboration with Hop Farm started last year. Every year there's this like very large Pink Boots collaboration, which if no one's familiar, it's like an all-female beer professional organization. They do like people who are in wine and spirits can also be part of it. Mm-hmm. But they do a lot of scholarships. So there's a lot of fundraising throughout the year, but usually once a year, it's like every chapter or whatever, as many people are raising money for it. So last year I asked our friend Malcolm at Hop Farm if he wanted to basically collaborate with me. And I brought in one of my brewers at the time, Shannon, and then it just turned into this like mega collaboration. So we basically sat down and we're like, what do we want to do? And then all of a sudden we got this inspiration based on one of their farmhouse beers. And I'm a huge fan of honey. And so it kind of just started rolling. And Shannon had this idea of using like the name May Queen based off of our beloved horror movie, Midsummer. So that kind of allowed us to really focus on the other elements of the beer. And so it has this like floral tea in it as well as honey. And it's really cool because we ended up with this like super collaboration with a bunch of really amazing women. So this year is year 2. The base recipe altered very mildly, but our tea that we're using is a little different. The honey we're using is a little different. And so we're just basically now teaming up with Halloween is Forever and doing the ultimate collaboration right now.
Yes. So, and as Halloween is Forever, we are going to add zero value by showing up and talking about spooky ooky shit, and maybe some folks will come out to see us. We would very much appreciate if you did. We're going to start. So there's kind of a release party for the beer, right? Starting at 7 p.m. 7 to question mark.
Oh my gosh, we're such party animals.
Because we like to fucking party. No, I think they're open to 11. So go home after that. But it does. The party starts at 7, and then we are going to kick off a live recording of the podcast at about 8 o'clock. So if you want to come out and see it, we're not going to watch the whole movie or anything. We're going to show some clips and things like that. So if you haven't seen Midsommar from, what year was that from? 2018? 2019?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, just the last few years. Go watch that sumbitch, because it is a heck of a movie, and we are going to be talking about it. But we're not just going to be talking about the movie. We're going to be drinking some damn beers, doing some silliness, and all manner of spooky ooky shit at Hop Farm Brewing on June the 25th. Come out and see us. Free to get in. Just buy some beer, buy some food, support the cause, try the collaboration beer, spread the word. It's going to be fun old spooky time over at in Lawrenceville on the 25th of June. And hopefully, we don't aren't dragged out in handcuffs, and so we can maybe do stuff like this again in the future. I'm actually have another little cool thing in the works that I'm going to meet with some people on Tuesday about. So stay tuned for some other spooky news here in the coming weeks. But goddamn, we got some other news. I recorded a podcast earlier this week last week, I guess. Comes out with the dudes over at Monster Party. If you've ever heard Monster Party podcast, it is been around for a long time. They do an awesome job. They talk about all manner of like horror and sci-fi and silliness, and they're super fun and super funny. And I had a fucking blast on the podcast, which I think is going to be coming out this week. We'll post something about it on the social medias when it does. And then what else? Oh, this was unexpected. For those of you who listened to last week's podcast last week's Minisode, where we talked about The Sadness from 2021, which was released as a Shudder exclusive in the last few weeks. We talked about it. We really liked the movie. We're talking about how crazy and brutal it is and all that stuff. The director of said film reached out to us with a very sweet, very well thought out response, and even answers some of the questions about his kind of direction on how he's bringing some of the themes to life in that movie. Really, really awesome guy. Steve, I'm blanking on his name right now, and I remember I was scared to
Rob Jabaz
mispronounced it. Yeah. He was super, super nice, and Steve texted me, texted me and Megan, was like, holy shit, did you see he messaged us? And I was like, no, it was like hours later because I was working all day. And Steve responded to him. It's like, hey, thanks so much, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, should we ask if he'll come on the podcast? Or like, why not? Let's shoot our shot. And I said, hey, if you ever want to come on the podcast, he's like, yeah, I'll come on. So we are super, super excited. That is in the works. Once again, what was his first name, Steve?
Rob
Jabaz, the director of The Sadness. We're going to have him on the show to talk about his film and maybe some upcoming projects as well. Who knows? We'll see what we can weasel out of him. Maybe we can kind of like do some sort of it's going to be virtual, I assume, but like I'm trying to figure out what the virtual equivalent of getting somebody drunk is and making them give up like valuable information. I'm not sure. We'll figure that out. We'll cross that bridge when it comes.
Brian's Googling hypnotizing apps.
How do you hypnotize someone on the Zooms? But speaking of getting drunk, are you guys having beers or what?
I did crack one open.
What you got?
I got one of our friends over at Shoe Brew. I got their West Coast IPA.
Nice.
And it's actually pretty nice. I liked it a lot. It's called Shoe Brew Catitude. And it has this really cool fucking cat on the label.
There you go.
I love me a good cat label.
Nice. Steve, what do you got?
I have Southern Tier Thick Mint on the Nitro. Yes. So just a fun 10% stout for Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, there you go.
Sounds on brand.
Right.
I have a beer that I don't know a lot about, but I do like it. It is a brewery, and I'm trying to figure out the nature of the brewery here. I was just reading about it, and I was like, oh, there's some brewery from Connecticut, but now I'm reading it. It's some sort of like kind of almost collective type situation. I don't know. I'm going to look a little deeper into it, but they are in Connecticut. And it is OEC Brewing Company in Oxford, Connecticut. Are you familiar with them?
I had them over at the Golden Age Lagerfest.
Ah, okay.
I snagged, I want to say I maybe got their Martzen that they had or something like that. It was nice. I wish I would have gone back for more, but.
Yeah, I'm reading the 16th century unique breweries in the Northeast. Yeah, so pretty cool spot, pretty unique in the way they kind of speak about their beers and stuff on the labels. Anyway, I'm drinking their Cool Ship Lager beer, which is a Czech style. They're calling it a Czech style blonde lager. Pretty big for a Czech lager, 5.2%. Unfiltered, unpasteurized, and I think they are, obviously using a cool ship, so driving some kind of unique fermentation characters for this particular beer. And yeah, man, it's drinking nice, kind of rustic, bohemian style, fairly strong lager beer. I'm digging it.
So how would that work? Like if they're using a cool ship, would they pitch a lager yeast and let wild fermentation happen? Or?
No. I think that, just reading really quick, I'm like skimming the description here. I think they probably do something more similar to what Dovetail does, which they're using the cool ship in the traditional sense rather than for spontaneous inoculation. Okay. So usually when you're using a cool ship for a sour beer, even then, you're not introducing yeast in the cool ship. What you're doing, so a cool ship, for those who aren't familiar, is basically just like, imagine a really wide, really shallow, like copper bathtub, right? It's rectangular or square, really big and wide and quite shallow. Maybe it's only 8, 12, could be a little bit 14, 18 inches deep. But you just basically, back before refrigeration, before the advent of heat exchangers, like counterflow chillers, what they would do is just put all the wort after the boil in this vessel, and it would, because it's spread out over a wider surface area, it would cool a lot quicker. And then they would put it into fermentation, pitch the yeast. Now, those are become completely obsolete with, technology, like I said, plate chillers and things like that. But what some brewers do that want to kind of replicate that process for spontaneous fermented sour beers is they actually leave it in the cool ship like overnight. And they actually like open all the windows and stuff like that in the brewery, and let just natural flora and fauna from the environment settle in there. But then ultimately they're usually putting it in barrels or a foeder or something like that's where the dominant microorganisms that are going to be working on the fermentable substrate, which is the wort, and everything that's in it, that's where most of it's going to come from. Now, that's not to say there definitely is small amounts of, like I said, wild yeast and random bacteria that are creating some of the precursors that are going to be, biotransformed into weird and fun fermentation, flavor active fermentation compounds later during primary fermentation. Okay. So it's almost like a pre-inoculation before, the actual primary fermentation to just get some other variables in the mix, if you will. Now, when they do like Dovetail puts all their beers, their clean beers, everything through that, they just leave it in there for a couple of hours and it serves its purpose as kind of almost like pre-chilling. But, and I've talked to the folks at Dovetail about this, and I was like, what do you think, in your mind, what are you getting from this? And they were like, there's not an easy answer to the question. But if I had to guess, and we kind of came to this conclusion a little bit too, having this conversation, is if you want a more characterful lager beer, like not ultra clean fermentation character, actually has some nice esters and kind of unique fermentation character, this will help to lend some of the organic acids, for example, that will ultimately translate to some unique esters during primary fermentation. Okay. So very convoluted answer there, I understand. But yeah, I would say the elevator speech is you're trying to drive some unique fermentation characters in the beer, not necessarily sour and funky, but just some unique maybe esters that you wouldn't normally think that particular yeast strain would drive on its own. In a way, just letting the beer touch air rather than going through a completely sterile environment the entire time. Yeah. Yep. Okay. You're just letting some of the natural flora and fauna in there. And of course, it's not going to be in any like amount that it's going to be able to build up enough strength as a strain or as a colony in there to like overtake the actual pitching of the yeast that you're going to do. But it is going to add, like I said, a little bit of its byproducts in there in that short time frame that, like I said, like if you understand the creation of esters, one of the primary things is, various organic acids. So like acetic acid is the most prominent acid just normally in beer, but it's typically to lower levels where your note tastes like the vinegariness to it. But there's a whole host of other type of organic acids that even in small quantities in there can translate to new and different ester flavors.
Okay.
So that is, I really think the driving force behind this one, just judging from the label and kind of what they're suggesting they're trying to accomplish. But anyway, yummy beer. Okay, we talked about all the things except for our creatures from the deep, monsters from the deep,
creatures from the deep,
yeah. Something like that, right? So that is going to be our showdown episode, if you recall. And I guess I should say for those of you who are new to the show, once a month we do the showdown episode where we have a whole list of topics that have been suggested to us from our social media friends and listeners out on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. They suggest them to us. We put them in this big spinny wheel. We pick 3 of them every month at random, and then we put it out on the social medias for Yinzal to vote on and decide what topic we are going to do for that month. Then we each pick a movie associated with that topic. We discuss them. We argue about them. We vote. Somebody takes home some bitch and strap for the month. Steve currently holds the championship title. He's walking around with that damn belt. It's just carrying just pounds and pounds of chip-chopped ham in his arms with the belt over his shoulder around Giant Eagle, just flexing on motherfuckers. Now, the next one for June, because it's our 1-year anniversary, believe it or not, we've been doing this damn show for a full year now. We each got a chance to pick our favorite topic that had come up via the wheel at some point in the year. However, it was not selected by our listeners. So we are now going to, we have forced our listeners to pick from topics that they have previously rejected, which is a real celebratory moment. But it's entirely selfish because then we get to pick ones that we thought didn't get picked for whatever reason. I picked Big Top Horror. Meg picked the Child's Play franchise. Steve picked Monsters from the Deep, and then eked it out by like 1 or 2 votes. It was like incredibly close, like as close as it could possibly be. So we are doing Monsters from the Deep. Are Yins ready with your movies?
No.
Meg did not do the assignment.
I did not do my homework. And the dog ate my homework, guys.
Yes. She wrote it down.
Bruce.
She said,
we're blaming Bruce today on this one.
Well, that's all right. How about we do this? Steve, do you have your movie?
I do.
I have my movie. So maybe what we'll do is we'll reveal what ours are going to be. And I don't think this is going to necessarily give Meg any type of strategic advantage. Do you?
Nah.
Yeah.
No, I think it'll be fine.
I can't imagine why. Yeah, I mean, I feel
There's
good
so
about...
many out there. I've been just like kind of partially Googling as we've been talking, and I'm like, there are a lot for me to choose from, so I even like need to watch a couple, I feel like, too.
I'm actually sitting here at this moment. I have 2 in my head, and I have this weird sneaking suspicion that Steve is going to pick the same movie as me. I don't know why. That would be mind-blowing if it does, because it's not like listen, I didn't pick Jaws, although I could have, you know what I mean, that would definitely be on the table, but that's not what I picked. So it's not super obscure, but it's a little bit obscure, and for some reason I have the sneaking suspicion Steve's going to pick mine.
So I'll let you go first, Brian, because
Okay.
I actually think you're not going to pick what I finally settled on.
Yeah.
Because I ran through a list of like 10 or 15 like different ones. And then, so you probably have one that I thought about, but I don't think I'm going to go with it. So
Okay.
go ahead and announce yours.
So I'll tell you the 2 that I was planning, or that I was thinking of. Okay. One is what some may consider to be the turd of James Cameron's career. 1989's The Abyss. That was the one I was originally thinking of going with because it is shot extremely well. It drags at points, but it's got fantastic performances. It's got a lot to talk about. It's got some really weird late 80s CGI that actually holds up like better than stuff that's 10 years later.
Yeah.
So it's a really sweet movie, but I'm not going to pick it. I am going to go with another film written and directed by now very famous Korean director, writer, Bong Joon-ho, who did Parasite, of course, won Best Picture with Parasite. This movie is called The Host. The English name of it, I do not know how to pronounce the Korean name. I think it's Gwalmul or something like that. But it is The Host from 2006. Korean flick.
Yeah, that was definitely one that came across my, like, The Host.
Yeah.
I never considered The Abyss, though, because it's just too long.
It is long. It's long, and also, like, I watched it not that long ago, and I was like, this movie fucking rules. Mm-hmm. But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, I know Steve's going to go for the jugular on some of the elements of this movie, like whether it's truly a monster or what it is. It's more of an alien, really.
Right.
So, spoiler alert, sorry for a movie that's from 1989, but it's a 30-year-old movie. But it's more of an alien. It has more alien vibes than monster vibes.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided not to go with it. But it's awesome. But honestly, then I was like, are not aliens or are not monsters just things we don't understand yet?
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether they're monsters, creatures, angels, demons, it's just shit that
Brian's
we don't
getting deep
get.
Today.
Well, then I was like,
right.
do I want to have that conversation with Steve? Do I want to argue that with Steve and Meg?
Right.
And then I was like,
do you really want us to break you down on that level to where you can't even defend the other stuff?
Right. So this was a strategic decision.
Yeah.
But I do love The Host, and it's a fucking great movie. So I'm excited for that one.
So I think I might surprise you on what my pick is going to be. But I went through all the usual suspects of like the Leviathan and
that was on my list too.
Yeah, Deep Star 6 it's fine, but like it also drags. And
it's boring. Yeah, I want it to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I watch it, I do like it because it's got great moments, but it drags.
But I am going to surprise you with my pick.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Piranha 3D.
Why does this also feel on brand for you?
Because
why are you gonna? Listen. I like this movie. It's just it is a very non-Steve pick. This is coming from the man who, in one of the very first episodes, picked A Field in England.
Right
now he picks Piranha 3D.
Wait, you need to talk to me about what Piranha 3 Double D is, because I would just Google that and I was like, what the fuck? Is that the porno? Oh, it's a horror comedy. It's like
it's the sequel to Piranha 3D, but it's just like a little. So like these it's funny because we're talking James Cameron.
Yeah,
and James Cameron directed one of the original Piranha 2, I believe. Wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So James Cameron directed Piranha 2. There was a series of Piranha movies in the 70s.
Yeah, and
then they rebooted Piranha in 2010, I believe. Mm-hmm. With the director of High Tension, Alex Aja, and so Piranha 3D comes out, and it has it is a horror comedy, and you'll see when you watch it. It is full of great moments, great actors, great cameos.
Don't say that. Yes, Steve.
You selected a movie. I like Adam Scott.
But you selected a movie where second to top billing is one Mr. Jerry O'Connell. Okay.
Yeah.
And I just want that to sink in right now. I just want you to. He was a child.
But I feel like Christopher Lloyd being in it also kind of is maybe a redeeming factor.
Christopher Lloyd.
Underappreciated Christopher Lloyd performance in this one, and
Dina Myers, Ving Rhames,
a quick cameo I recall from one Mr. Eli Roth as a host of a wet T-shirt competition.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. No, this is a fun movie. You're not going to win, but it is a fun movie.
We'll see. Maybe my pick is playing to Meg.
Maybe.
What?
Perhaps.
I see how you guys play. Don't worry. I'll
What?
figure out
I'm
something good.
What? I'm saying I'm playing to you. I'm playing to
I
your
know.
sensibilities in that you like Christopher Lloyd and Adam Scott and
Well, you just learned that.
Paul Scheer. I assume you like all those people. They're not bad people, so
Oh, Steve playing fucking mind games with us already.
That's
here.
fine. I would rather have him do nice things to me than to you, Brian.
Yeah,
'Cause
don't
he's
trust
evil.
him. Don't trust him. He made us watch Veronica.
Yeah.
Do not trust that fucking guy. Yeah,
And it's still
so-
sending us fucking Danzig memes. And I'm done.
Yeah. Actually, I sent the last Danzig
Oh,
meme.
you did.
Yeah. Which was what was the last one? I'm trying to remember.
The
what I sent
brother,
you.
the Hulk Hogan one.
Oh yes, it was basically Hulk Hogan with like Danzig's hair and shit. Brother, tell your children not to walk my way. Anyway, yes. So I think that's all of our exciting news. Well, for now, but yes, remember. Keep with us, guys. Tell folks about the show because we got some exciting ass stuff coming up here in the coming months leading up to the spooky season. Yeah, so we played Tubi Roulette this week. If you don't know what Tubi is, fuck you. Tubi is the greatest, not only streaming service on the internet, it is free. It is also my personal Bible. I would go as far as to say Tubi is my Lord and Savior. I would ask, and again, before you say it, because I know it's in your head right now, Meg, Tubi gave us Wishmaster 3, right? Wishmaster 3 sucks ass. I mean, there were some funny parts to it, but it was a fucking miserable movie. So you may ask, what type of cruel god would give us Wishmaster 3? And may I remind you, Tubi giveth and Tubi taketh away. Tubi has given us some fantastic picks in the past. It gave us a challenge, a burden to bear this time around. And I think it speaks to probably your insolence. Somebody who you guys are been talking shit and questioning Tubi's righteousness, I would assume. So, listeners, friends, if you can't, go on iTunes or whatever the fuck it's called now, Apple Podcasts or any of your podcast apps. Review Halloween is Forever. 4 stars, 5 stars, whatever the maximum amount of stars is. No less than the maximum amount of stars. Or again, you will be smited even further. And then write a little review and just tell us about how Tubi is your Lord and Savior and you're not worthy of Tubi and you're not worthy of Tubi's love. And then that'll probably get us back on track. And I'll send you some stickers too.
So I can tell you I'm not the one that's in defiance of Tubi at the moment, because I discovered that they have 16 seasons of Columbo, and so I've just been watching Columbo.
Tubi has fucking
Brian,
everything.
or Steve, are you coming at me about like possibly smiting Tubi right now?
No, I'm
If
saying
one of
it's
us
not
is doing
me.
it. Steve's not it. I'm certainly not it. I'm the most devoted Tubi follower there is. I was watching Max Headroom on Tubi at 3 a.m, baked out of my mind the other night. Tubi was bathing me in his soft glow of Max Headroom. I'm in its favor.
I'm saying it's very possible that it's not even Meg, that it is the audience because they haven't been leaving enough 5-star reviews.
I told you guys. We need to
Hey,
get rid
don't
of
go
this
at the
fucking
audience. We love you guys.
Then it's Meg's fault.
It's either Meg, it's either you or the audience, all right, or both. But I've been telling you guys for a while, we got to get rid of this fucking audience because they're fucking everything up for us with Tubi. No, but seriously, I'm mad at you guys out there, listeners. Please go review and write your apologies and praises for Tubi in the review after giving us the full quantity of stars that we deserve. All right. Now,
Indeed.
let it be so.
Man.
And peace be with you.
And also with you.
Yeah. Wishmaster 3. How familiar were you guys with this franchise prior to watching this whole
Not
piece of
even
shit?
an ounce
Really?
of familiarity with it.
I had watched the first one and remember kind of liking it. And then so I watched the second one and the third one for this.
Yeah.
Ooh boy.
Yes.
Takes a big drop.
So
Was it like is this like a franchise that's like gotten better? Is like this like the best one,
No.
or it's gotten
No.
worse?
Way worse.
Okay.
way worse. So like
Way
Because
there's
it felt like it was edited in iMovie. That's like the
Yeah.
vibe that I got for
Yeah,
sure.
so there's only 4 that I think, and 3.
Only?
Yeah, there are 4.
Yeah, 3 and 4 were filmed back to back in like
Yep.
a month.
Yeah.
So, but just to if we're gonna talk Wishmaster 3 without watching 1 on the show, let's go back to 1 for a second and talk about everything that was lost from 1.
Yeah.
So Wishmaster 1 was produced by Wes Craven,
Yep.
special effects by K&B Effects,
Yep.
starring, well, not starring, but appearances by Robert Englund, Kane Hodder, Tony Todd, Ted Raimi,
Yep.
and then it was directed by Robert Kurtzman, the K in K&B Effects,
Yep.
and then also music by Harry Manfredini,
Yep. Fucking star-studded.
and then a credit song by Lemmy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have
Interesting.
And one more
Yeah.
other quick one. Narrated by one Mr. Angus Scrim.
from the Phantasm.
The tall man himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking star. And Andrew, I think it's Devoff.
Yeah. Devoff
Who
or
pl-
Dive Off. Yeah.
He's the fucking whole movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like most of those like big like stars that are in it, stuff like that. Most of, maybe with the exception of Robert Englund, he's in it a little bit more if I recall. But like Ted Raimi and like Kane Hodder, they play like quick little cameos.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But so most of these people don't play big roles. But that Eric Devoff, who plays the Djinn, or the kind of, evil legendary genie, he kind of fucking rules.
Yeah.
Like he makes the whole movie.
He's a great character actor. And like if you don't recognize him from Wishmaster, you might recognize him from other things. He is Red Eye in my favorite full moon feature, Oblivion.
I still haven't watched that one.
Yeah, but he's in that, and like he appears in a whole bunch of things. So you've probably seen him, but you just don't know that you've seen him.
Oh, Vern Troyer's in it too. I just looked that up. I didn't even notice that. There's so many people in this fucking movie.
Yeah, it is all over the place. The effects are great. The directing is a little I think Kurtzman directing might have hurt it and just kept it from being like one of those movies that's in everybody's mind in the background. But like obviously the effects are fantastic, over the top.
Yeah. Yeah, they're great.
So you just mentioned Dive Off. He was set to be a part of Wishmaster 3 and even wrote the script for it.
Yep.
But apparently the script he wrote was so expensive and crazy that they said no, and then they went with this script. And
which I'm fairly sure was not a Wishmaster script.
no. And it was so bad that he left.
Couldn't. Not only do I not blame him, I applaud him for his decision, because the first movie was genuinely really, really fun. The second movie honestly was a huge drop off and kind of sucked, but it was a cool premise and there were some cool moments. And Devoff, I remember, I looked it up how to say it, now I forget. He holds the whole thing together in the second one. Like because he plays himself as so he's not in like the full makeup Djinn form and the mask and everything. A lot of it, like he's in jail, and which is a great idea because his whole thing, he has to like collect 1,001 souls or something like that, and he goes to a jail to collect people's souls. It's like, that's a pretty good place. You got all these people captive here and whatever. Yeah, and then that's like what Steve described happened in the third one, and holy shit, this has got to be one of the worst written movies. Like, it's not Veronica, but holy shit, it's in the same area of the cosmos.
It's just lazy and terrible. So let's talk about the writer then. The writer is Alex Wright. And
the German.
He not that Alex Wright.
If you want to know what the Germans are about, then pick me and you'll have a hell of a victory, I promise. Sorry. WCW reference there, guys.
Yeah, so it's written by Alex Wright, not that Alex Wright, and it's directed by Chris Angel, not that Chris Angel.
When I first read that up, I was like, written and directed by Alex Wright and Chris Angel. Holy shit. Oh, wait. No, it's neither of the famous ones.
So
not that Alex Wright, the WCW guy who was just like a Nazi. Like his gimmick was he was kind of a Nazi. Like,
you're thinking of his later incarnation as Berlin. Alex Wright was just a club kid.
That's right. He was like Eurotrash. Mm-hmm. You're right. I'm getting his two gimmicks mixed up.
Yeah, he was like dancing Eurotrash.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
It's okay. But
Tubi, please forgive me. I know you have nothing to do with WCW, but I feel like that's the kind of misdiscretion would anger you. So forgive me.
Not knowing wild 1996 minutia of WCW gimmicks.
Yeah, that did not go over at all.
Right. All right. So the writer, he has a very interesting post Wishmaster 3 career. And I'll just read. I believe, Brian, you'll enjoy this because he also became a director on top of being a writer.
Okay.
Here's a quick list of his movies: The Perfect Bride, Hope at Christmas.
Oh no!
Once Upon a Prince, The Mistletoe Inn.
This makes so much sense.
A Christmas in December.
Nantucket Noel, A Family Christmas Gift. That's a real one.
Country Christmas 2, A Big City Christmas.
Dude, a Christmas for December makes me fucking laugh all the time.
That was Kate. Kate came up with a Christmas in December. But
that all makes sense because I literally, when I was watching it, I was like, this just feels like an odd horror soap opera, which in all reality, I might get sucked into something like that, but this just wasn't it.
Yeah, it was shot very, very strangely. I kept getting these weird, like deja vu hits or nostalgia hits that made me, eventually I came to the conclusion what it reminded me of. It felt like it was a very special multi-part episode of Charmed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that's what it reminded me of.
Yep.
It reminded me of the worst softcore porn.
Yeah, like everything was like kind of glowy and melodramatic.
Yeah, just something because the lighting is so soft.
Yeah,
like the way they would light, softcore porno actors.
Yeah. What was that MTV show that was kind of like meant to be even softer than softcore porn? It was called. It was Undressed. Do you remember MTV Undressed?
Oh, wow.
That sounds familiar. But you're probably dating us back to like what? At least the early 2000s, if not the 90s.
I would say even late 90s because it's like it was basically for like 14-year-olds staying up late at night to rub one out too, basically. Like you don't have a computer, it's like everyone's in bed. All right, I could probably make this work.
And because you weren't smart enough to stay up for late MTV2 or BET when they showed the uncensored videos.
Right. Well, you're getting sleepy. You knew you weren't going to last that long.
Not me. I didn't get sleepy. I'm watching that ludicrous video. Fuck off.
Jesus.
Oh, kids will never understand.
They don't get it.
A few years before that, you were finding the bra section in the Sears catalog,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just too much information.
I'm learning so much about you both right now.
You had to get it where you could. It's
yeah. You couldn't always go into the woods in the middle of the night where you hid your mildew covered porno magazine.
So, continuing on the line of like who had a career after this, the director really didn't. He became an editor for like behind the scenes DVD extras. But everybody, and I think this is the good part of the film, everybody who was in stunts or effects all had careers that like blew up and they worked on way bigger projects. And like that's the best part of the film. Like the damn film starts with like a car rolling and exploding, and then they do it again later.
Yeah, it's the two best things in the movie was the car rolls. They do really well executed car rolls. You know what? It makes a lot of sense now that you said that. Was that a fart noise?
Oh, was it me? No, I think it was a laugh. I think it was like a laugh.
I thought it was a reference to something that happens later in the movie.
No,
anyway,
it's just my voice.
Yeah, Steve, that makes a lot of sense. You said that the guy went on to work on like DVD special features, because when I was poking around on IMDb, it said it had one award nomination. I'm like, what award did this fucking thing get nominated for? And it got nominated for like best DVD extras. That was the only nomination.
Yeah. So the plot of this one is they find the gem that contains the djinn, and it is just shipped into a college. Like,
yeah, in a Wish.com lament configuration.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In a puzzle box that you would find at a craft fair that you can just like simply open.
They're like, squint your eyes, then you see something else. It's also one of those paintings where you see a sailboat.
Right.
If you like squint your eyes.
Yeah. So the lead actress, AJ Cook, she a lot of people might recognize her from Criminal Minds, if you watch CBS fascist TV like I do sometimes. But she plays Diana Collins, and she's just a student at the school that like works in the archaeology department. And she opens the box and rubs the jewel, and then the djinn has to come out and make her make 3 wishes so he can unleash the army of djinns across the world. That's the fucking plot.
They're like ancient gods / genies / something. But like in the earlier movies, the best part about it, and the thing that the main guy, Dive-Off, whatever, that he did really well, was the whole idea was like, he wasn't physically, I mean, he looked physically intimidating, but he didn't really do physically intimidating things. It was all trickery and mind games, and he was tricking people into making wishes so he could take their soul, and he would distort whatever their wishes are to make it. It was like when you were a kid and you're like, I'll bet you $1 it's this, and then somebody loses the bet, or you lose the bet, and then they're like, give me $1, and you're like, I said doll hair. Like that's the whole first 2 movies. Yeah, but it's him just playing little tricks and distorting their wishes to kill them, so he can take their souls.
Right. Yeah,
and this like almost takes all of that and just throws her out the fucking window.
It does.
He did it like once though. I feel like where he just kind of caught someone like being like, "Oh, I wish I could like hide somewhere," and he's like, "Ah, gotcha." And then that was like it happened once. It just once.
It did, but it was like hide somewhere.
Yeah.
Rats will eat your face. That's not hiding,
right?
Yeah. She was.
If they would have like buried her, if they would have like been like put her in like they hid her in like Antarctica or something, and she froze to death, or they hid her like encased in cement or something like that. You'd be like, oh, okay, that's funny.
Yeah,
you hid her, but
no one will find her.
Nobody will find her.
Yeah, but
instead they're like, you want a hiding space, huh? Rats on your face.
Yeah, let me shove you into a rat cage, and then your face gets eaten.
Okay, I know we're getting ahead, but there's the best part of the movie by far is in that scene, and we'll get to it. But I just need to not forget, because it honestly was one of the more mind-blowing film experiences in recent memory for me, and I need to see if you guys caught it.
So yeah, you're kind of right, Meg, and like it did happen like twice. So the one time it happens is like he comes across a co-ed, and she's like, so the djinn winds up taking the form of a professor at the school, and he's going to hunt her down throughout, because they don't have Dive-Off anymore, so they give it to this other guy. Yeah.
And he meant to, like, he's a rapist professor.
Oh yeah, because
for sure, he's creepy as fuck.
Yeah, because the whole way the djinn gets him to make his wish is by threatening to Me Too him.
Yeah. So because he assumedly, and he was like, it didn't happen, like, so it never gets fully explained, but they're basically suggesting that he raped a student,
right?
So he picks people that have that those types of like, hiding something dark like that, so he can expose them into blackmailing them into making a wish, so he can kill them and take their soul. But in this instance, he takes their face.
Yeah,
which that doesn't happen in the first 2 movies at all.
Well, in the first movie, he finds a body at a morgue and takes its face.
So does he take its face?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember the face thing. I was
He takes his
confused.
face,
Okay.
and then that's how you get Andrew Divoff throughout the rest of the movie. But so
I missed the face. I forgot about the face thing.
so like the two wishes in this one that follow that line of "haha, monkey paw tricked you" is like he says one of the co-eds is like, I want you to break my heart," and then like he does break her heart.
He explodes her heart.
Right. So then the other one is I want you to end her pain. But that one is just a recycle from the first movie. So that one off the
that was the death with the liposuction one, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Why does he not just do that every time? Tell me to end her pain.
Right.
Wish I'll end her pain. And then you do it and you just kill them. Why doesn't he just do that every time?
Well, he tried to do it later in the movie.
He did try to do it with the best friend's boyfriend.
Yeah.
With the boar, whatever it was, the tusk, or if it was an antler or something like that.
Yeah.
That guy sucked so hard.
Yeah.
Hate that guy's fucking face.
There is not a likable person in this film, and that's
There really isn't. Everyone you hate and want them to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
I take that back. There was one person who was a goddamn hero, and I loved her.
Okay.
The like the administrative assistant lady with the cigarette.
Yeah.
She was a fucking hero. He comes in as like, I'm a weird professor. You know who the professor looked like, by the way? Take off the goatee, change the hair. He looks exactly like Mikey Day from SNL.
Huh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't watch SNL, so no.
Yeah. So he comes in and he's like, I need this person's file. I'm a sexy professor. And there's this kind of like older lady, like white haired, like she's like administrative assistant, I assume, or a filing clerk or something. And she's ripping cigs and just blowing smoke in his face, going, "Get lost, fucker." And he's like, "But what if I make all your dreams come true?" And she's like, "No, eat shit, asshole." Like, she never gives into it. It's like, she just tells him to fuck off like 10 times until finally he's like, "I'll make your wish come true." And then she like sarcastically, which I think is bullshit.
Yeah.
You need to have it be an earnest wish.
Right.
Because she just sarcastically goes, "I wish all these files would burn up so I could get out of here." And then instead of the place being on fire, which would have been more expensive, they just make fire shoot out of one cabinet and set her head on fire.
Right.
It's so fucking dumb.
Yeah. You're right, Brian. It is bullshit because like they hardly almost anybody ever makes the implicit wish.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times he's just like, "Would you like me to do this?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Like,
If it'll get you 3 steps away from me quicker, yes.
yeah. It's
Fucking
like
creep, is it?
90% of the time
Yeah.
people are just trying to blow him off. Like,
Yeah.
stop,
He
stop
just
talking
pulled
to
out a
me.
thesaurus of all the different words you could use for wish, and he's like, "Gotcha."
Like the way the djinn gets his body from the professor, like the professor makes a wish that the two most beautiful women in the world that he finds the most attractive
Yeah.
would show up and love him forever.
Yeah.
But they show up and kill him, which immediately this is like the first death, and this already
it makes no fucking sense.
It already starts you down the bad path of like, oh, this is bad writing. What
Yeah.
sense does this make? Like,
Yeah. She bites his tongue off.
yeah.
And it's like, they
in
love
some
him.
world, I mean, in some worlds, maybe people would be into that. I don't want to slut shame here.
But that's like, what did you? Yeah, I don't want to kink shame. If you would like to bite people's tongues off, listen in the privacy of your own home. No, but my thing is like, there was 100 other easier, more sensical way. Like they could have been like, they came in, and the fact that he actually made it a point to go, the most beautiful, no, the 2 most beautiful women in the world. Why wouldn't they have come in and like both been so madly in love with him that they couldn't stand the other one having him, so they killed him or something? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's 100 different directions that love could result in death, but instead they're just like, let's make out. Now I kill you because I'm a construct of a genie. Like,
Or they could have like written it so it was like that monkey paw thing, and like, I wish the most beautiful woman in the world would suck me off, and then she sucks like his skin off his body. and then the genie.
I thought you were just gonna say his dick would just like come right off, and that would have also been just as we didn't. You went for the whole skin bag, the whole skin bag,
sucks his entire skin off, and then the djinn has skin to wear.
Yeah,
See, look at you be logical here with this movie.
Yeah, it struck me as like they had the guy, hey, we can't do the other dude's script because it's too expensive. All right, you've got one weekend. And they literally wrote this piece of shit. This is a first draft.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was filmed in 16 days. So I can only imagine like how quickly. And like we mentioned, Alex Wright has gone on to just be a Hallmark, drone. So he's just he's not good at writing, but he's good at completing scripts.
Yeah, maybe it's some of the stuff, even in the first couple scenes, when he pops up behind her and like just scares the shit out of her like a psycho. He startles her like on purpose, then goes, and this is before he's the djinn. He's just a weird dude,
right?
And he goes, "Fear is a common indicator of guilt. What are you guilty of?" Like, you don't know what fear is. That wasn't fear. That was startling.
Right.
He jumped up behind her and said, "Boo."
Also, that's
you fucking sociopath.
That's not how fear works. Because I'm pretty sure I'm not guilty of anything when I see a giant spider.
Yeah, I'm about to be guilty of killing this fucking spider.
Yeah. I'm guilty that I've let it live long enough to surprise me.
Also, why do they does he refer to the people who summon him as the Waker? Should it not be the Awakener?
You would think, but that's been since the first movie, so.
You know what probably was in there at first, and they just like didn't know how to. They like were on the fly. Maybe someone read it as like Whacker at first. They're like, no, it's Waker. Just say Waker, and then they kept going.
Here's one of the two most extremely comical parts of the movie that were just like clearly showed that the people shooting this didn't care about the movie at all and just thought it was completely shitty and asinine and silly, was the djinn's face when the two girls came in and take their tops off.
Yeah.
And they show over to him, and you're not going to be able to see this, obviously, listeners, but he does like a like the djinn does
he does
a duck face
he does almost like the Fox cartoon, like a horny wolf in Looney Tunes cartoon face, like wow, those boobs are big.
Yeah, it's so silly.
Yeah. It's awful. Basically the rest of the movie just breaks down to this really boring cat and mouse game. Like they're just running between the same three buildings until they, at one point, the AJ Cook and her boyfriend run to a church. And like, this is probably my favorite comical moment, is that they run into the church looking for a priest to help them combat the djinn. And then he's just hidden under a black blanket, and he pops up and he goes, "Yeah, the priest is indisposed."
That was for sure in like Chris Angel's car, and he's like, "Guys, fucking take it."
Yeah.
Like, I just imagine that this was a very frustrating process. So everything was just kind of like, well, what do you fucking have? Like, what can we use?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And that's the same reason why they had the suit for one day.
Right.
So they're like the djinn suit. So they're like, all right, let's just pretend the djinn goes into this fucking dork, so we don't have to rent the djinn suit for any more days.
Yeah. It's
now we get to be scared of this fucking dork.
You know what? I don't know if I should make this comparison, but it kind of reminded me of like maybe like the Psycho Gourmet being a little bit derivative of it, like slightly. It kind of reminded me of it, but much better, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, it's not too far off. Like, I think if you look at the original Wishmaster suit, it's very, very close to the Psycho Gourmet suit. And like, if you told me that one was cast out of the other, I wouldn't be super surprised. It just
No.
we reused the Wishmaster suit for Psycho Gourmet.
Yeah, it would be like Ernest Scared Stupid, reusing the the Kyoto Brothers stuff from Killer Clowns.
I just read another one of and it's like super recent. There's that Shin Ultraman movie that came out.
Oh yeah.
And they reused.
It like bombed super fucking hard, didn't it?
I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they reused the Shin Godzilla costume as one of the monsters in it.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice. Yeah, the whole cast like couldn't have less chemistry. Like you could tell they had no like real life relationship with each other at all, because they just were like so cold and like just zero chemistry.
Which, I mean, it helps later because once Diana's boyfriend Greg gets possessed by Michael the Archangel,
which was a wild turn I didn't see coming.
Same. Yeah, like, then it makes sense that they have no chemistry. But yeah, like you mentioned the one boyfriend of Diana's friend Billy, like he is insufferable. He is, but at least he was like trying to deliver a performance. Like the main boyfriend, is it Diana? Diane? Yeah, Diana. Yeah, Diana's boyfriend. His performance was like, it was like somebody was like strangling him and he had very little oxygen and he was about to pass out all the time. Like, he looked like he was about to pass out from asphyxiation at any moment. Like zero energy. Yeah. It was horrible. It makes so much sense though that Alex went on to write all these Hallmark movies though, because Greg is giving that exact performance of the bland milquetoast, just clean white slate of just boring handsome. He would be great in a movie that had zero conflict, like the Hallmark Christmas movies. Like the conflict is someone is gonna lose their apple orchard or whatever. Right. Someone's if we don't get the loan from the bank, we're gonna have to close our candy cane shop. Like that's every one of those stories.
Actually, that might make a good base for a horror movie though, a Christmas horror movie. TM guys, TM, let's go. TM.
So, someone needs to snowmobile a can of gas out to the plow truck.
Yeah. But it's snowing pretty hard.
Don't worry, I got it, babe. I'll do it.
Guys, we got to take a plate of cookies over to old man Johnson's house, but our cocoa will get cold. That's like the conflict.
Don't worry, I have a thermos.
Oh, you're my hero. I love you.
Yeah. Credits. Day is saved. Never even see the old man.
I feel like this needs to be an official segment of the show now, is you guys going back and forth on like a made up script, because it should just life do like, to me.
We should genuinely, I'm not even kidding at all. We should do 30-second Hallmark Christmas movies. Like we should actually shoot them. That would be funny. But I don't know how to be a baker. I'm a career lady.
If you're blandly handsome or hot, let us know.
Let us know.
You can be in our 30-second Hallmark movies.
We'll give you 3 beers. 3 beers. Let's not go crazy.
Yeah. Inflation is a bit much at the moment. Let's.
Yeah. Yeah. Holy shit, that was a bad performance.
Yeah. So there's the one scene where the djinn is chasing and is trying to find Diana, and he stops at like the register booth for one of the houses or whatever and is looking for her. And Billy overhears a conversation and like he misdirects the djinn to go to a party.
Yes.
Then he goes to a party and shows up in this woman's bedroom.
Who is the one of the students whom he was stroking her face in class earlier. Yeah. Which is frowned upon even in 2001, I think. Yeah.
He asked where Diana is, and she says sarcastically she's under the bed. And then he looks.
Yeah. Yep.
I actually got a kick. I was like, they're really playing off that this guy is so fucking dumb right now, or like just doesn't understand sarcasm.
Yeah.
I think the idea was supposed to be like, he doesn't understand sarcasm. He's not human, and that should be scary. But it just came off silly as fuck.
Man, I don't know why I just got a really funny scenario and inappropriate thought in my head that is she would have done that and then just turned around and just start pegging him like that.
That's a trick she plays on all the dudes who come over.
No, but turns out that she's actually the person that's been killing everyone.
He's just a victim. Like she's killed a bunch of genies this way.
She's the
I'm
danger.
like laughing and embarrassed for myself right now.
Then he does the face that he did when the boob girls walked in. He's like,
oh, you got me. Yeah, it's such a it felt like something that they were trying to establish that like he's super literal because that's the way he grants his wishes too. He's like,
sure.
Yeah.
But like that was never established in the previous movies. He understands sarcasm. He's been alive for thousands of years. He's not an alien.
He's actually like a social chameleon even. He can go into jail and just like completely, fleece all of these like career criminals and stuff.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's just such a... And like it never comes up again. Like it's not a way that they defeat him or anything. It's just...
Nope. You thought it was going to be foreshadowing when he did that, but no, it never comes up again. Mm-hmm. Turns out the jump scare with the fucking antelope or whatever is the only foreshadowing when she puts it back up on the wall.
Well, now, Brian, there's actually two parts of foreshadowing. There's that, and then there's also how the movie really starts, which is it starts with her waking up from her nightmare about losing her family.
Oh, well, yeah, that's like just her story. They thought they were doing a good job of like bringing her story arc full circle.
Yeah.
And she can say, I love you now, even though her parents died in a car crash.
And then also it starts with Greg looking over the edge of the building.
Oh, yes, because she thinks
he thinks she jumped. And then it ends
There's so much eye rolling going on right now.
Yeah, he does. And then she jumps off. And then, I understand we're jumping over a lot of things to get to the end, but then he basically breaks her fall like a human,
like trampoline type thing?
Yeah, like one of those things.
Trampoline.
I couldn't remember the name of it. I was going to say a beanbag, but yeah.
Safety net,
just lands on him, and then you're like, wait, would she have really died if she jumped from there? Probably not. She just break her leg or something.
Depends. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
But it starts with him looking over the edge and ends with him looking over the edge because she actually did jump. It starts with a car roll, ends with a car roll.
And instead of destroying the Death Star, he destroys the ship that controls the robots. Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Oh, all right. We got to step back because there was a couple of
what do they call that?
Things to
what
talk
is that
about.
phrasing like with names that go the same way backwards and forwards? Basically, that movie is the equivalent of it.
Yeah.
Palindrome.
Palindrome. Yeah.
Palindrome.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what this movie was.
Yep. Just the same as RoboCop.
Why does the Jinn reveal himself and his plan to the boyfriend? Because remember when he does that?
Yeah, because the movie's stupid. That's why.
I was gonna say, like, why? There's never any reason why he does that.
Yeah.
And then he runs into to the best friend, the one who gets the rats ate her face, and he's like, "Your best friend was telling the truth." And then she immediately believes him, but she wouldn't believe her best friend.
Right.
And then she just starts going. She was right the whole time. She was telling the truth. And she's like, what? And she just starts like she just ran 10 miles. She's like breathing really heavy. It's bizarre. But then right after this was there were 3 points in the movie that were 100% make it worth watching. I mentioned one earlier, the funny scene earlier. That this one is her tripping over the bikes at full speed. Oh my god.
But then she got up like nothing fucking happened. I was like, why? What?
Why was that in
right
there? So I'll paint the picture.
I feel like that was actually realistic. I think that actually just happened.
So this is what happens. And again, please watch it at least just for these like 3 scenes we're going to talk about. This is the second of the third worthwhile scenes. She's running. The 2 people, her and her boyfriend, who are constantly running in this movie, they run like they're running in slow motion, or they run like they have like Nickelodeon moon shoes on, like they've never been athletic in their life. And she's running, and she just is running not towards one bike, towards an entire rack of bicycles. She's kind of looking everywhere except for where she's going, and she just eats shit over a bike at full speed, slides and smashes into some boxes.
No one was chasing her either.
No one was chasing her. She gets up, looks around, and then runs in a different direction into the woods. It was like she was embarrassed and was like, I gotta get out of here, and just runs into the
I hope
woods.
nobody saw that.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. Makes no sense. It is a complete non sequitur. I really think it was a joke. I really think that the filmmakers put it in there. Were like, wouldn't it be funny if she? Because there's a couple things in this movie that suggest to me that they were inserting funny things in here on purpose, and I really think that's what they did here.
Mm-hmm.
And my thesis will come full circle here in a moment.
Okay.
But I do believe that's the case.
I'm here for the argument. I'm waiting.
When the best friend goes in and she does the, oh, I wish there was somewhere to hide, and the rats eat her face. When Diana comes in and finds her girlfriend, her best friends, laying there with her like lips chewed off and all that stuff, and then she turns around and there's the professor with a rat in his hand. He turns the rat around, and there is a fart noise inserted. Okay,
I'm gonna go back and watch
swear
that.
to God. Okay, turns around, and it's like literally, it's soft but extremely audible. This was on Tubi, by the way, that I watched it. He turns around, and it's, and then I stopped and I went, no. Did I imagine that? I went back and watched it 4 times, and
my
I am
God.
sure with 100% certainty that there is an inserted fart noise in that moment.
So I completely agree with you. And I don't think you're completely selling it the best way, though, because like it's not that he's just standing there holding a rat. He lifts it.
He turns it.
He lifts it up to her face and puts the rat's ass
like
in
the
her
rat
face.
farts in her face.
Yeah.
Yes, they inserted a fart noise
This
to
is
make
so
it seem like the
ridiculous.
rat farts in her face. And I
It's
heard
the biggest
first
fuck
time,
you, man.
Yeah.
and I was like, no, that can't be real. And I rewound it, and I still didn't believe it, even though I heard it. I did it 4 times, guys. I swear on my life that they inserted a fucking fart noise.
I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna put the captions back on. I mean, captions on. I usually have them on, but like, and I'm gonna see, is there a fart? Because like, I must have missed that when I was going through. But
I mean,
I'm now excited. I'm now
they
really
clearly
actually
wanted
excited
it
to
be
watch that.
missed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
man.
is just, and like they're going to lie to you. They're going to say that it was a chair moving or something like that. But no.
Yeah.
That was a fart.
Yeah, that was 100%
Someone
fart
was on.
noise added in.
Someone was probably just on set and they farted and they're like, we have to keep
Danzig's
going.
over there. Danzig's eating pastrami. He's like, lifts up his ass, farts through his mesh underwear.
See, it's not even that. It's Danzig sitting there and he puts his hands up to his mouth. He makes the fart noise. He's just like, hey, get it? It's just like if the rat farted in her face. Hey.
Hey, the fucking rat farted in that bitch's face. Show me your tits. I couldn't believe that. And then 5 seconds later is the angel, the archangel Michael goes, clever girl. Like in the same way as fucking Jurassic Park. Like, they were
So
just
fucking
throwing
stupid.
nonstop. Like, this was a joke project. Like, it really was. I truly believe the whole cast was just like, we're gonna get this done. We're under contract. We're gonna put a piece of shit movie out there, and then we're gonna fucking cash our paychecks and pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah. And they were both direct. This one and 4 were both like that direct-to-video garbage.
Directed, yeah, VOD. It was probably the early days of VOD. Even no, 2001 probably
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
No. It was just directed DVD. Probably.
Yeah. It was just shit to throw in Blockbuster. Like before the Asylum really got the formula down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we get, you're supposed to have the Archangel Michael and an all-powerful fucking demon genie thing. And instead, their final, they have 2 physical battles, and they're each just like 5 minutes of them both like no-selling each other, like just the most clumsy fighting, and like it was so fucking bad.
Yeah, it's
and shitty bladder effects thrown in. It's just like, oh god.
Honestly, I didn't hate the bladder effects. The
one with the heart was okay.
The one with the heart was okay. The one where the Jinn gets his arm cut off and it like pushes out like he's growing a new arm was okay. The one where
it reminded me of those little water weenies. Remember those little water weenies?
What?
That's what it reminded me of. You don't remember those? You would buy them at like fucking, the drugstore, and they were these little like tube things that like slipped out of your hands. They were full of water.
Yes, I actually.
The one though where they again they have this kind of cool stunt scene where like he's on the roof of a car. And they're driving around.
Yeah, the chase. Yeah. It was like the classic, like something's trying to attack you from on top of the car situation.
And that was kind of...
But it's just a fucking dork.
Yeah, it's just a dork. Like,
it's not a fucking demon. It's not like it's, Jeepers Creepers or something like that. No, it's just a fucking dork professor.
What if a British dork in a suit was on your car?
Yeah, I would just jam on the brakes and back over his ass.
So it's kind of a cool stunt, and then they like sideswipe another car, which is supposed to like crush his legs and everything. Mm-hmm. The effect after that's terrible, but the stunt is cool.
When his legs reinflate like a fucking when you're like rolling out blowing up a fucking like inflatable thing for the pool.
It was like a Drop Dead Fred effect.
It was Drop Dead Fred for sure. Oh, it was so bad, and the fucking look on his face after he's like. It reminded me of the scene in Home Alone after Harry gets the blowtorch to the head and he runs outside and sticks his head in the snow. Mm-hmm. And he gets back up and he's going like, he's like doing those weird little facial expressions, and they overplay some sounds, but it's him, and he's like, but his arms are like, or his legs are like unfolding.
Right?
It's so fucking dumb.
Yeah, he has no dialogue. He's just watching them run away, and then it's just like cuts in between his close up, them running away, and then a far shot of his legs, reinflating, and it's just like, they like say something, say I'm gonna get you, like you can't
say ow that hurt, say anything,
you can't run forever, like anything, like
say you can get a new couch. What am I gonna do about my legs, Charlie Murphy? Charlie Murphy. My legs like a linguine. Fucking hell. And then you get the blow me kill, which again could have been could do so much more fun things than this. You could have did a Violet Beauregard situation where he said blow me and he inflated him. He didn't say, I wish you would blow me, by the way. He just said, blow me.
Right.
And he turns around and blows like the big bad wolf, and it launches him onto the horns and it shoots through him. But like, why didn't he go like, blow me? And he like did the, he inflated him like Violet Beauregard and he exploded into a bunch of fucking guts or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he also gives him the Molly Ringwald finger, which is when you flip somebody off, but you do it like this for some reason, where you guys can't see me at home. But instead of like putting your middle finger the whole way up, you do this like half-assed, like almost all your fingers are up, but just to the last knuckle. Like
just in case the teacher caught you and you might get in trouble.
Yeah, you could be like, no, that's not what I was doing.
I wasn't. I really wasn't.
I wasn't. Ask him.
It's not fair. I wasn't.
You guys are a bunch of asshole kids. It sounds like it.
Yes.
Ask the Jinn. I wasn't even doing that. I was waving to him.
I was just looking at it. I stuck my finger on something. I had to look at it.
My finger, I got a hang now.
It hurt real bad.
God. It hurts super bad. I really gotta go to the bathroom. Oh God. And then there's this whole subplot, which we haven't talked about because it's not worth talking about, but the Sword of Justice.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like the Archangel Michael's sword, which is like this wavy, like serpent-looking fucking sword that apparently Diana has to use once she's ready. It's this very like... it's like the Force. There's so many like Jedi-ish references in this between like her not being ready and they don't know when she's going to be ready and they don't know what being ready means.
Right.
And then at the end, they literally have the same ending as Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where she uses the force to take the sword from the boyfriend and then stab the djinn right before she decides to kill herself, because she thinks that is going to make it so the djinn can't make her wish anymore and can't torture her loved ones anymore. And let me be clear, the moral of her decision, the heroine of the movie's decision, is I'm going to kill myself to make everyone else's life better because they'll be better off without me. That is not a healthy...
Nope.
Yeah,
No.
that is not a healthy message by any means.
It also just illustrates how stupid she is, too, because...
Yeah, dumb as a fucking box of rocks.
Because the end...
And she's supposed to be like this scholar, too.
Yeah.
That's the even funnier part.
Because the ending of the first movie is a simple time travel wish of just wishing something... wishing the inciting incident didn't happen.
And the same in the second one, really.
Yeah, I hadn't rewatched that one.
I'm pretty sure the second one ends the same way.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like, why did they have to go to... I mean, I get it. Why it would have been cheaper, to recycle the same thing for the third time, but it would have been made more sense.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, she's a total buffoon because she wastes one wish on killing her friend, wastes another wish on wishing Michael the Archangel, rather than just saying, oh, I wish God would stop you.
Yeah.
Like, I wish Christ would solve this.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish Jesus would come beat you
Right.
up. No. No.
Or I just wish you would go back in the jewel.
I wish you weren't being such a dick.
Yes.
No, she does. They do everything wrong.
See,
then,
Brian, that one wouldn't work because then the genie would just become a woman. I wish you weren't being a dick, so then it would just become,
Yeah, he would do the whole thing. But it's just so goddamn dumb because ultimately, well, I guess he does regenerate, because I was going to say the whole idea was that she had to be the one to hurt him with the sword, but Michael cuts his arm off, which we talked about, and it definitely hurts him. It definitely incapacitates him for a period of time. It does regenerate, but it takes a few minutes, and they definitely are able to like get away. So Michael could be helping instead of just standing around like a fucking dildo,
right?
You know?
Yeah. He could have been, stabbing him and trying to bring her back from the ledge. He could have been doing a lot of things, but no.
Yeah. I like the fact that they try to do this like dramatic thing. Like we said, they do a pretty darn good a car roll and explosion. The effect is executed super well. It is shot like horseshit because they make somehow a very exciting thing look kind of boring. Yeah, and then when they're running away from the car, because it's, again, like you said, this is the it ends as it begins situation where the car flips, the boyfriend is trapped in it. Is she going to not be able to save him like she wasn't able to save her parents, and he's going to have the same death on, with the exploding car on its roof? No, she gets him out. And then you think like it's going to explode the second they get out of it. No, they're like 300 feet away when it explodes.
Safe distance.
It's like a comfortable distance where they could probably not even feel the heat of the fire, let alone being blown up. It's just shot really well, really poorly.
Yeah. Like they didn't take the time to get, stunt actors. Like they had plenty of stunt actors for everything else, but... no, we can't put stunt actors near this. And I think it's also just because like the explosion is actually fucking huge.
It's a really good explosion. Yeah. It's just like it's shot so bad.
Yeah.
Ugh. It makes it even makes it like not look that good. Like you can tell it was a big explosion just from like the perspective and like how big the car is. It's like a big old like 70s like sedan. It's a fucking huge car, and the explosion's giant, but they actually made it look less impressive because of how badly they shot it.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah. Shameful waste.
Oh, and then and then the end, which I don't know if we're ready to get to the very end, but we talked about how, again, it's the end of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where she uses the force to pull the sword over. She jabs it through the djinn. The djinn and her fall down hugging each other from the roof. She lands on top of him, but luckily she lands to the side of the sword. The sword goes into the ground, and then he, basically that thing that happens when you kill a bad guy in an NES game. They just like blink until they disappear. Mm-hmm. That's what happens to her. That's what happens to him, rather. And then she's dead, I guess.
Yeah.
But you saw her survive the fall, but now she's dead, I guess. I don't know. And Michael and she's like 12 feet out from at least maybe 20 feet out from the wall, and they fell backwards. Michael, AKA her boyfriend, I don't know which it is at this point, is on the roof looking down, going, "Wake up. You gotta wake up." And then one single angel tear falls and then goes out to where she's at, lands on her face, and his angel tear revives her.
Yeah,
because
he's blessed. He's blessed.
Well, they did establish earlier when she tries to hold the sword of justice and her arm gets melted, he is able to bring her back, with the arm. So what? He's able to heal her. So why isn't he healing everybody?
Right. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Why?
I mean, he's an archangel, so I guess. I mean, if you think about like Dogma, now we're talking about the second Kevin Smith movie already. If you're thinking about Dogma, like the archangels, like Gabriel and Michael or so whatever, played by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, they don't give a fuck. In fact, they take pleasure in killing people.
Right.
So they don't care about humans. In fact, they think they hate humans. But if that's the case here, why is he crying when she died? It just doesn't add up. You know what I mean? At all.
They loosely establish that Greg is still somehow inside of her. Or inside of him.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No, Greg.
That's a Third Eye Blind song. Yeah. you were just singing the leader. You were just singing the lyrics of a Third Eye Blind song just now.
But Greg is still somehow inside of the angel. He has some sort of influence, but not really.
Right.
So it's just loose, lazy writing in case like somebody got confused about something. And then they're like, we'll just make it more convoluted. That way nobody can question us.
Yeah. You don't understand the rules, which is a shame because in the first two movies, the rules were like really pretty well laid out. You know what I mean? And that was what provided the kind of guide rails, if you will, for a lot of the good interactions in even the second movie, which was, again, kind of shitty. Mm-hmm. But those guide rails are what made it interesting.
Right.
This one really has no guide rails.
Yeah, it really doesn't, because they just make up whatever they wanted along the way. They just throw in Christian propaganda and throw in fucking like shitty wishes aren't even really made. Mm-hmm. And then like you get some boobs. And they're like, that's how we justify this. We showed some boobs.
Oh. You know what this reminds me of? This just occurred to me. This could have been one of the higher budget, like Kirk Cameron produced, like Bible action movies. Like The Left Behind or whatever that series is. Mm-hmm. Like this could have been in that. If there was a little bit less violence, this could have been in that.
Not so much less violence, but definitely less nudity and sexuality.
I guess less graphic, violent. You know what I mean? Although some of those do have a lot of that too, I guess.
But if you make the wishes more specifically tied to like sinning, with greed and things like that, and then like the djinn is like granting everybody's wishes to sin, but then you have you have one character, she wants to be protected by the archangel. Ooh.
Well, maybe that's the overarching theme of this, is that literally every human is so flawed that everything they wish for is coming from ego and a sin. So boom, guys, done.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if Kirk Cameron would have showed up and been like, should have prayed on it. Tots and pears, boys and girls. And then they pass the collection plate and then it's over.
That actually would have been a really fun joke or something, like if when they went to the church and the djinn like came up and off his blanket and he just like whipped one of those like donation containers at them. That would have been pretty funny.
The track. Or if just at the end they were like, oh, he saved him or whatever, but then it turns out that Diana was gay, so she went to hell anyway.
No, here's like even
And Kirk Cameron was like, told ya.
Alternative ending to that is that like saying whatever about saving him, and then he just like pulls out a wad of cash, saved something.
Yeah. Or here, even better, the white rat that farts in her face is Jesus Christ.
It's like all the symbolism I fucking need right now.
Yeah. No.
We're just all just a rat in a cage.
No. It's when the rat farts in her face and he goes, looks like someone got left behind.
No, I think that's when you actually pull in the Smashing Pumpkins line.
The rat in the cage.
Despite all my rage. Guys.
Speaking of music, what did you guys pay any attention to this soundtrack and how inappropriate it is?
Not even for 1 second.
The music is
it just seemed like,
so terrible.
Yeah, it was just dog shit. I did not even pay attention to it. I was just trying to get through this piece of shit.
At the end of our like live show, though, we should play this soundtrack to get people the fuck out. That would be like end of the night bar music. Get the fuck out.
Instead of playing like closing time, you just play the soundtrack to Wishmaster 3.
Yeah.
Time to leave.
Oh, what a pile of poop. What a pile of poop. So I've now seen the first 3, so I obviously need to watch the 4th one. Like, I'm not going to not watch the 4th one after watching 3 movies.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys make me want to like go back and actually watch the first 2 at some point.
One is 100% worth watching.
Yeah.
It is. It's not a masterpiece by any means, but like, it's a very enjoyable, like, supernatural horror movie.
Yeah, supernatural horror movie.
Corny, late 80s, early 90s.
It was like 97.
No, 96. Yeah, it was actually like mid 90s rather. It was, what do I always get it mixed up with? I always get Wishmaster franchise mixed up with another one from the late 80s. Who is the 80s like kind of scream queen type of actress that had the like really like kind of teased out red hair.
Peg Bundy.
No. Yes. Yep. Moving on. You're right. It's Peg Bundy. No. Her. Oh my God. Tawny
Katane.
Tawny Katane. What's the movie with Tawny Katane in it? I think that's who I'm thinking of.
Ooh. Bachelor Party.
No. Yeah. Tawny Katane had this like her hair was even like Witchboard.
Okay.
Witchboard. If you've ever seen Witchboard from '86, in my brain, I mean, they don't have a lot in common at all. It's about like a Ouija board and demons and shit. Anyway, holy shit, she is awesome in that movie. She's so fucking hot. It's ridiculous. But she is also, yeah, it has nothing else to do with each other. I just get Wishmaster and Witchboard mixed up all the time. Tangent for you there. I know that's important for you guys to understand that I get 2 B horror movie franchises mixed up in my head.
Go watch Witchboard instead of Wishmaster 3.
Yes, for sure. Watch first. I would rank them Wishmaster, then Witchboard, maybe, and they might even be neck and neck. Then Wishmaster 2, then 90 Feet of Shit, then Wishmaster 3.
Wishmaster 4 is not better.
I can't imagine. Did you watch it?
I turned it off. I like because I watched.
Yeah.
Dang.
I watched the first one after watching 3, and then I was like, well, I might as well try to watch 4 since they were filmed back to back. See if there's anything in common, and it's just like just turn it off.
Yeah. Yep. That makes sense. All right, boys and ghouls, let's remind you, check on back in or a Minisode next week where we get to hear what Meg's movie is She is playing games with us right now. Quit playing games with our heart. I knew you were going to say it. I read your face. You were going to do that.
You saw my body.
I saw your dance start happening, and I was like, she's going to say quit playing games with my heart. I know it. You guys can't see, but as soon as I said quit playing games, Meg just started kind of.
She really telegraphed.
Like, I know exactly. Yeah, she telegraphed that punch. Yes, check on back in for that. More information about some of our really exciting upcoming shows. We're going to have some guests on. We're going to do some live recordings. We're going to do some spooky ooky fucking shit. We have so many fun things coming up as we spiral towards the intro to spooky season, boys and girls, once again. And as always, go ahead and write a review, rate us, screenshot it, send it to me. Make sure that you're apologetic to Tubi because you don't deserve its grace, and send it to me. I'll send you some stickers. Check us out on the social medias. As always, we're getting close to 10,000 followers on the Instagram at Halloween is Forever, at Hallow Forever on Twitter, Halloween is Forever podcast on Facebook, at Halloween is Forever pod on even the TikTokies, or Halloween is Forever pod at gmail.com if you want to send us one of them fucking emails. Anything else we're forgetting?
I don't think so, bro.
Tell me your favorite Columbo guest star.
Steve. Go listen to Steve's soon-to-be spin-off Columbo podcast. And don't watch Wishmaster 3 under any circumstances, except for that part with the fart.
Watch the fart.
100% worth the watch.
Watch the bike fall.
Watch the bike fall and then shut it off. It's free on Tubi. Go check it out. Say hi to Tubi. Say your prayers while you're there.
Here's the nice thing. Here's the nice thing about our Grace Tubi is that Tubi does have like quicker playback options, so you can watch Wishmaster. You can watch it faster.
Yeah, at like 1.5 volt, speed or whatever. Yep. Yes, do it.
We need to find that. Actually, might be a really fun spin-off of Tubi Roulette. Is like just picking a movie and just like playing it faster
at like 2 times faster.
Yeah, and just seeing what we get out of it.
Yeah.
We might find weird hidden messages. I truly believe that.
Let's watch.
I think inserted by Tubi though.
Gotcha. Let's watch Beyond the Black Rainbow at 2 times speed.
Yes. Oh my god. Oh, that would fuck me up.
I got a little gremlin in here. You want to say hi real quick on the show?
Hi.
Hi.
Where were you eating that you have all over you? Yogurt? Okay. All right. For the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
I'm Maggie.
Go ahead, say it. Say bye.
Bye.